All right, welcome to Freedom Gulch's inaugural podcast. Got a few of our contributors here,
Yay!
and it's going to be kind of just informal and going as we can go. But definitely want to have a forum where all of us can get together, discuss current events, various topics with libertarianism. And so what we're just going to go ahead and start with is how we became libertarian, how we joined the Libertarian Party, and go from there. You want to go ahead and start with us? Start it out, Andy?
Yeah, sure thing. I appreciate it, Will. You're doing great work with the website. Andy Bacher, Libertarian Party of Northern Virginia chair. I ran for the House of Delegates last year. I joined the Libertarian Party after having worked on the congressional campaign of Jeff Carson. I was really frustrated with the large parties. And there was this guy named Robert Sarvis who was running in 2013, and in 2014, here's this young guy, a veteran, who's running on end foreign wars and end the drug war, and there you go. That's enough for me. So that's how I came to the party, and I haven't left since.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Carl.
Well, I guess it all starts with back when I came to Virginia. I guess I was more liberal, and then I was always kind of sort of interested in politics. I started getting involved in the Republican Party, and I realized that really wasn't for me either. So I didn't really know where I fit in, and I found myself with the Libertarian Party, and that was the best fit. And then I started reading the philosophy and learning about libertarianism, and finding the road to freedom. And basically, I've come a long way from where I started. So
This sort of
Definitely. And Corey, you want to go in?
I was asked to become a member of the Richmond Crusade for Voters by Reggie Ford, who was the president, and I know him for 8 years at Toastmasters International. And the Richmond Crusade for Voters, November 2014, had a candidates forum where I was able to meet Rob Sarvis and James Carr. I had my teenage boys with me, and they were like, Mr. Sarvis kicks butt. And afterwards, when everybody else was discussing the Redskins, we met and talked with Rob and James, and I got on the Twitter feed of all the local libertarian parties in Central Virginia. I met Carl, and a couple months later, Carl asked me to help him with his campaign, and the rest from there is history. And I think that my struggle is I think more African Americans should identify with the Libertarian Party, and not enough do, in my opinion. So the reason I'm here is because I believe that you guys have embraced me, and then we have a lot of the same issues, regardless of race or sexual identity, and I think that the Libertarian Party, we all work well together. So that's why I've been a member for the last year.
Great. And Mark?
Sure. I was a Republican for most of my life, and then I would say in late 2011, I was kind of holding my nose and casting my vote for the Republicans, and then in late 2011, it's like had the 2004 presidential election coming up, and I said I can't do it anymore. I couldn't vote for people that want to ban gay married, want to put people in jail for smoking weed. That's been just as much, more or less, as Democrats starting wars everywhere. So I actively pursued a third party to vote for. Started taking all the quizzes and started researching candidates. And I discovered Gary Johnson in 2011, early 2012. And I voted for him. I was happy to vote for him. Then I said, well, let's see what we can do. In 2013, we had the governor's race in Virginia. I said, let's see what if there's a libertarian in Virginia. So, Rob Jarvis was running for governor in 2013, and on a very minimal scale in 2013, voted for Rob. After getting hooked on the idea of libertarianism and the Libertarian Party in 2014, I volunteered early for Rob and Bill's campaign and ended up kind of running things in Frederick County agency, organizing volunteers and stuff. So I've been, since 2011, late 2011, early 2012, been on board with the Libertarian Party.
Yeah. I'll definitely notice a common theme with Rob Sarvis, definitely getting a lot of us into the Libertarian Party. How about you, Michael?
Oh, I'm going to break the mold, man. And I do love Rob, too, so he's a great guy. But I learned about libertarianism back in 2008 through the Ron Paul campaign. I was active in that campaign in California. After, obviously, he didn't get the nomination, I kind of got out of politics and then came back in 2011 when I joined the Libertarian Party of California, became their northern vice chairman. Someone's got a dog in the background.
I'm
Hey,
sorry.
Corey, can you mute that? There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Or not. And then got involved with the Libertarian Party of Washington.
Hey, Corey, yeah, they're muted. Sorry.
It's all good. Going back and forth for business up to Washington.
I'm sorry, guys.
Hey, Corey, just mute it, man.
I keep trying to mute it, but it's not working. Hold on.
I think it's because I'm trying to mute you, then you unmute yourself. It might be Joshua Huffman. What is Joshua Huffman doing here? Hey, Josh, just letting you know that we're kind of doing introductions. So let's get back to Michael.
Let's get back to Mike, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Michael.
It's all good, man. Yeah, so became the chairman of the Libertarian Party of Washington 2 years ago. Served my term for a year, and been running candidates, recruiting activists. Right now I'm focused on, I got a new book coming out called Libertarian Lion, focused on getting that out. And then this whole charade that is our 2016 presidential race is really interesting right now as well.
Yeah, definitely want to cover that a little bit.
Yeah, paying attention to that. So that's a little bit of my background. I'm a business owner, own a couple of businesses, and that's what I do.
Great. And Joshua, so I see you joined us. Does that mean you're going to be a contributor to Freedom Gulch?
I don't know. Just figured it came up that this was going on, so I figured I'd just pop my head over here and see what was happening.
Okay. Well, let's see. Well, let me go ahead, I guess, introduce myself. My name's Will Hammer. I'm the founder and CFO and Chief Freedom Officer of Freedom Gulch. I actually started Freedom Gulch a few years ago. It was mostly just a Facebook page, but now trying to get it as a website, a platform for libertarians and like-minded people to discuss freedom and advance those principles. But the way I became a libertarian, then eventually Libertarian Party, was probably I was raised as a liberal mostly, and went to college and started taking economics classes, and so I already had the social aspect of it for the most part. And then I started getting the economic side, and then I co-founded the Classical Liberals, which is libertarianism essentially, club at Ham City, and helped with the Ron Paul campaign. Just a little bit of volunteer, not too much. And that's where I started out and tried to work within the Republican Party. I was actually the treasurer of my local committee for 2 years, and I just couldn't sleep, sleep at night, live with myself, and just wanted to. Well, I got apathetic for a few years, and actually started identifying. Became a voluntarist, ANCAP. But I definitely see the use of the political, the forum, actually running for politics, because it's, you may not be interested in the government, but government is interested in you. So I definitely want to see government.
Got that right.
Reach and scope reduce as much as possible. So seeing Rob Sarvis's success in 2013, again going back to Rob, decided to run in 2014 against Bob Goodlatte, and this past year for Virginia House against Dickie Bell. And yes, that's how I got into the Libertarian Party. Been a long time Libertarian, but didn't really get into the party till the last few years. So let's go ahead and let's jump into just talking about the LP presidential candidates and get some thoughts on the various candidates. Just go ahead.
Actually, Will, I kind of wanted to ask you something.
Yeah.
So I know you're starting your website out, and Freedom Gulch, obviously, and we're really trying hard to boost that. But I wanted to know, is your ideal website kind of similar to the Libertarian Republic?
No, I mean,
I'm just kidding, man.
Not as many ads. Definitely not as many ads, but I definitely want to have it as a forum for, I identify as an ANCAP personally, but there's many minarchists and other stripes and flavors of libertarians that contribute, and so I just want to have a community for freedom, just to have people have a platform and to be able to voice their opinion and bring about a different voice to the discussion. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because it's funny because I see a really wide spread of libertarianism or stuff that I didn't even know was libertarianism, and apparently people claim it to be libertarianism, like Austin Peterson, and he's saying that.
So what's your take on him, Carl? Because I know I read some things. I spoke to Austin over the weekend after some posts about what's going on with the concealed weapons here in the good Commonwealth of Virginia. So, of course, my question to the group is, how do you guys feel about him? I see Remso's going hard on Facebook for Mr. Peterson. So.
Well, I actually did a response to Remso's article on Austin Peterson, and I think all ideas should be challenged, and the best idea should, fall into place. But at the same time, like, if you challenge an idea, you should have some kind of way of backing it up with a better idea or a better principle. And I think the fact that when Austin Peterson, makes some claims against the non-aggression principle, I think he fails to give a better principle to replace it, or something other than that, rather than the inconsistencies he provides. So I don't know. That's just my take on it. But what do y'all think?
That's weird. Like, I haven't heard him advocate aggression. He's got this weird idea in his mind that he talked about in the video that he posted today, that somehow the non-aggression principle is the same thing as, like, non-resistant Christian anarchist pacifism, which I don't think is the case. The non-aggression principle is that you don't initiate force. It's got nothing to do with self-defense, and I think it's a completely manufactured, like, self-defeating, just troll, strange piece that his campaign has come up with, because he thinks he's cooler than Libertarian Party members. I don't know who he thinks is going to vote. I'm not sure.
Can I add to that? Because the non-aggression principle is the foundation of the Libertarian Party. When you join, you have to sign the non-initiation of force pledge. So it's the pinnacle as well as the foundation of libertarian thought, in my opinion. So this one principle, when applied in all areas of society, will allow for the positive advancement of the human race at speeds never before experienced. Because currently, right now, the government is aggressing on the population in every aspect of our life, pretty much, right? Yeah. All advancement comes through freedom, comes through liberty. So you want to speed that up, speed advancement up, we need to apply the non-aggression principle. Now, Austin Peterson, he's using it as a ploy to get people paying attention to him. Grant Cardone, who's a sales trainer, he says, Get people to hate you, get eyes on you, because what that'll do is give you more exposure. That's what Austin Peterson is doing, is getting more exposure, and he's getting these Republican light people to come on board in the Libertarian Party to support him, because this is what's going to happen, man. When Rand Paul doesn't get the nomination, all these people are going to look for a home. And just like I did back in 2011, I came over to the Libertarian Party. There's going to be a lot of people coming on board. So it's going to be up to us, the people who show up, the delegates at the national convention, to decide who is going to hold our banner. Now, is it going to be Austin Peterson, someone who, openly says the Libertarian Party Foundation is bullshit and everyone who believes in it are a bunch of pussies? Those are his words. Or are we going to choose someone else who actually upholds the founding principles of the party of principle? That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, definitely. And now, Austin's definitely probably the most controversial candidate in the LP. Well, maybe not. McAfee to join the pool as well. But I am actually contacting all the LP candidates. I've already contacted Austin, and I'm going to be doing a series of interviews this month with all the LP candidates. Of course, I'll probably be getting y'all's input on the various questions I should ask. But I am doing a series for interviews with LP candidates, so we can try to get the same questions asked to all of them and get the responses down, and so hopefully bring some light to some different issues.
And that's a great idea. What were you gonna say, Andy?
I'm looking for Will's 2 cents on the Austin Peterson question.
Well, I mean, the dogmatic me wants to be, I adhere to the NAP, and I listened to his argument against the NAP, and from what I can conjure from is that he believes that anything can pretty much be aggression, and I don't really understand what his basis is for that, but he thinks that every microaggression could be applied towards the NAP, and that any capitalistic progress, whether it's pollution or whatever the case may be, just driving can be called aggression, which I definitely obviously disagree with him on that. But I'm going to try to, with this interview series, definitely poke him with the NAP question and try to get a clear, concise answer from him. Not that it's going to be, I'm going to agree with it, but try to get a response from him, and so he can get all of his exact thoughts down on paper.
So I don't actually know much about Steve Kerbel. I heard a lot of good things about him. What is everybody else's take on him, or does anybody have any opinions on Steve? Because I think right now, from what I've seen, he's the most popular libertarian candidate for president.
I really don't know a whole lot about Steve. What I can say is that there are people in Colorado who I at least respect their social media presence. We never met them. Karen and Harlan comes to mind. They like Steve.
In the Calvin Klein bag.
Hey, Corey.
Sorry.
Man. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, so I saw Steve Kerbel speak in Colorado when I was speaking there at their convention. He spoke at our convention here in Washington. I've talked to the guy on the phone. I've seen a lot of his material that's coming out. He's very pro non-aggression principle. He's for it. Right now, I think he's a lot better than what we have as far as some of the other candidates. Who knows if Gary Johnson's going to announce or when he's going to announce, but right now, as far as the current crop of candidates, I think he's the best one we have. And that's including McAfee.
Yeah. Well, McAfee definitely brings a lot of attention, I guess, to our party, and I guess any press is good press. But he definitely, you look at a lot of his platform, and he agrees with us, like the foreign policy. With privacy issues, he definitely agrees with us. But then you read a lot of his social and welfare stances, and he's way out in left field when it comes to libertarianism. So.
Well, that's the other thing. With the presidential, everybody's going to run as a libertarian now. All these celebrities. You know, I really feel like I have a lot of respect for Gary Johnson. I hope he runs. He's the guy that brought me to the LP. But when you got guys like McAfee and Jesse Ventura and everybody's going to run as LP that may or may not be libertarians, it would be nice to get some homegrown talent to bring and distance ourselves from the circus that's going on with the Republicans and Democrats, with Trump, you know, the celebrity reality show guy, these people that are celebrities that just want to get on a national stage and get a lot of attention. Get some real people with real ideas, maybe like a Steve Carell, or even Mark Corbin, or somebody that's not make a name for themselves or pat their ego like some of these other people are, I believe.
Yeah, I agree, Mark. I think for the most part, people are taking using the Libertarian Party as a because we've unfortunately had a lot of trouble with ballot access. Although I think we've been the most successful out of all the third parties. So I think a lot of people, whether they're libertarian or not, because our platform is very open, even though it's not, but people assume that it is. I think that the platform makes it easy for people to just like, oh, I could be a libertarian because I'm part conservative, part liberal, but they still want big government, and I don't think they understand that part of it. So I think it just all depends on what people. I think they're just trying to. Some of them are just using us for ballot access. That's just my point of view.
I guess my point as a newer libertarian is the fact that most of us came up and became involved in various campaigns along the way. So if people are, I guess, not participating along the way, they're not, showing up on the radar of their local party doing different things, then I guess we can ascertain that they're just trying to use ride the coattails of the party in order to get their type of attention. And I guess for me as a newer libertarian, I want to see who's legitimately working within the party in incremental steps. So if they're working on a local campaign and then they're kind of showing up on our radar, then we can say, okay, that person's legitimate. But don't just use social media to kind of get everybody's attention and basically kind of go from there. And that's why I've been kind of contacting the various candidates as my time has allowed, because I want to make sure that whatever person we try to work with is legitimately trying to forward our ideas.
Yeah, and that's all really good, Corey. I mean, I guess all I would add is that, I think there are situations where the celebrity candidate or the big name rec, whatever candidate, brings something to the party and we help them and they help us. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody who's worked their way up.
Right.
I think if we limit it to that, it cuts us off from a lot of opportunities. It's all voluntary exchange, right?
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Gary Johnson, where would that be without Gary Johnson in 2012? But just these characters. Certainly somebody said earlier, there's no such thing as bad press, but when it is great to have celebrities that are libertarians. Kurt Russell has been in the news. That's great for libertarianism. Clint Eastwood has been in there, Penn and Teller. It's great to have celebrities say, "Oh, I'm libertarian," but then when some guy that is really using the party for the ballot access, for a small enough party that somebody that's a celebrity can come in and run, but we're big enough that we have a network of volunteers that will get ballot access. It's really attractive to people that maybe aren't bringing the best aspects of the outside world to be holding our banner, so to speak.
Yeah, well, I think that a candidate to come in and take over the party would have to have a lot of money and really understood the way the convention works at the national level. of the delegates. I've been to the last 2 national conventions, and I can tell you there's going to be a lot of hardcore Libertarian Party members at the Orlando convention. Their vote's not going to be swayed. Yeah, there's a shiny thing caucus in the Libertarian Party where, McAfee's in. Oh, I'm supporting McAfee. Hookers and blow for everyone, right? That has a lot of appeal to some people. But, the hardcore Libertarian Party members are really the ones that are going to decide who gets the nomination.
Wow.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Who's all going to the national convention in Orlando?
I'm going to the national convention.
I'll be there.
Great. Andy, Mark. I'm sorry.
I might be in Orlando at this time of the. I don't know. I was looking at the prices of the tickets, and I don't know if I'm going to be comfortable swinging that.
Well, we're all going to pile into a van and sleep like 10 to a hotel room, so we'll figure it out.
Yeah, that'll work. Whatever makes it happen.
Well, I'm getting a press pass, so
Nice.
maybe I can see how many press passes I can get for our organization. Actually,
All right.
just got a press pass for a Bitcoin conference down in Miami. I think I'll let y'all know at the end of this coming month. So it'd be nice to get some more press passes for different events like Freedom Fest. That's what I'm looking for.
I'm rolling with you.
Yeah. Well, why is Bitcoin price so up right now? What is going on?
Well, I don't know. I think that it's going to keep going up this coming year. You have the it halving here in shortly, and I think just more people are investing in different platforms and technology that's facilitating it for consumer use and more mainstream uses. And so I think you're going to see it, if not double, triple. I don't want to put any definite numbers on it, but I really believe the long term for Bitcoin and the blockchain technology that it brought about as well. So let's why don't we anything else for the LP candidates? Any other LP candidates you want to talk to, or you want to head over to the other party?
Dude, I got something to say about all of them, unless you want to move on.
We can talk about what do y'all think about Daryl Perry?
So I spoke in Minnesota, and I saw him speak there, and I got to tell you, man, I was not impressed. It was just a rambling half an hour.
Yeah.
Really?
He seems like a really nice guy, and I probably align with him, but you need to find somebody that can public speak and can present themselves, because this is for the president, presidential. You need to look for professionalism and other checklists as well as principles.
Daryl looks great on paper, man. He's got a good, solid voluntarist,
Right.
ANCAP background. He looks great on paper, but he still has to be able to fly around to the conventions, travel around when he's running for president. There's a lot of other aspects to campaigning that you have to take into consideration.
Anybody else on Daryl?
Yeah, I just think the president's not there.
Yeah.
He's not polished. He's not a credible president.
Right. I mean, he's a really nice guy, and like I said, I probably align with him probably the most, compared to everybody. But when you're looking at presidential candidates, you're looking at a lot of other things. There's a lot of other things than just principles, and like Michael said, on paper, you got to look at all the tangibles and intangibles. What about what's his name, Ince?
Let's talk about.
Go ahead.
Social media presence has been, something lately. I don't know. I'm still doing my research on candidates, but I have noticed that he's taken more seriously than me.
Well, I think with Ince, you again, kind of like with Daryl, I see him post stuff on Facebook that doesn't really come across as presidential. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We gotta.
What's an example?
I mean, you just have to look on his social media, but it's just not professional, not presidential stuff. And you want to have somebody that's principled and whatnot, but you need to have somebody that is polished and presentable, more presentable in the public eye. So, any thoughts, Michael, on him?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I've watched a couple of his videos. He types to people on Facebook, and there's multiple spelling errors, grammatical errors. It's just ridiculous. And I don't agree with some of the things he says.
Right.
I think he's better than Peterson.
Peterson definitely has the polished look, and he's a good speaker, but he's lacking on the principles.
Yeah.
If we could take maybe Daryl's principles and Austin Peterson's appearance in public, speaking ability and whatnot, then maybe we would have a really good candidate.
Besides ragging on Peterson, I will say one really positive thing about him. I really like the aspects he uses for social media. He uses live feeds. I think it's really good the way he uses technology, and I think we need to start learning from him and his ideas on how to reach more people that way. So that's just my positive note on him. I think he's really good at that.
He definitely knows how to use social media.
That's his background. That's what his background is on. So if his background is in there, then that's kind of part of how he's going to dazzle us. But if he doesn't embody other portions of the Libertarian Party, then that's what's problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you have to give it to him. He definitely has a good social media campaign. He knows how to work it. He's been dabbling in that. He's been a producer with Judge Napolitano, and he knows how to do that aspect of it. Just wish that he would be a little bit more principled and
less douchey
so much. And less douchey.
What I was going to add in there too is he's got a great team with him. We do like Remso. I don't always agree with Remso's politics, but he's a great kid. He's a great writer.
Absolutely.
A great development. Whatever her role is, I think she's basically the campaign manager right now. Rachel Mills is an incredible communication person. Carl and I and Corey too, I think, listened to her at the LPX training. So he's got good people around him. I like them probably more than what I've seen of him.
It shows that he knows how to surround himself with a good team. So that's a good point for him, though, right?
That's true.
That's true.
Hey, I do want to say we haven't talked about Mark Allen, Dr. Mark Allen.
I was about to say, any thoughts on Mark?
Let me tell you about. Hold on a second. Mark Feldman spit the best rap when we went to the Libertarian Party headquarters. He's like, I got my rap ready for you, Corey, and me and Mandy were like, yeah, and he got it down. He was legitimate. I was like, okay, so when you come to Richmond, we're gonna record you. And he was like, Corey, I'm gonna be ready. So as far as I'm concerned, for somebody that can speak my language and looked at what Carl and I did and said, hey, you guys kick butt, Mark Feldman is the man. He said, if you can trust me with your health, you can trust me with the presidency, and right now, my money is on Mark Feldman.
Any thoughts, Michael?
Yeah, I do. So I saw him speak in Ohio when I was out there speaking at their convention last year, and so he has a campaign.
Before you say something, sorry to cut you off. I just want to say that is his home state. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they had to let him speak, right? So he's got a campaign. I don't know, maximum donation of $5. He will not take any donation over $5. I don't know how we're going to run a successful presidential campaign if we can only take $5 donations.
I'll explain that to you when you finish.
Okay, go ahead. Explain it.
Okay. Mark Feldman.
Vote's not for sale, right?
Mark Feldman wants to talk to all of the voters who don't identify with any party. He feels like he's across the board the best man for the job, and the fact that he only wants a $5 donation he basically did the calculation, and I don't remember what his calculation was, but basically, if he embraces all of the people who are disenfranchised from voting, per his calculation, he can win. And that's why he's only asking for $5.
It's very optimistic, but he would have to get every disenfranchised voter to be able to do that. I don't see a very good long-term campaign with that, you know.
So Gary Johnson raised like $2 million, but he only spent what, like 2% on advertising. If we're going to get votes, we need to spend money on advertising. We've got to be able to raise it. And if Gary Johnson raised $2 million,
okay,
you know, without that $5 max, how you know, I have no idea how much Mark Allen Feldman's raised, but
okay,
probably not a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I do want to say, I think from what I've heard, other campaigns have actually, in the past, it's kind of one of the libertarian ideals, but I really like it. But it's 100% tax deductibility. So if you're a 501c3 and you basically donate to a 501c3, of course there would have to be stricter laws on 501c3, but if you're a 501c3 and it's any donation would be 100% tax deductible. So if you donate to a charity of your choice that you find interesting, he basically you basically get it back on your tax return, 100%.
Yeah, but see, the problem with the 501c3 is none of those funds can be used for political anything. Can't be used to promote candidates. It's a 501c4 that would be used for politics, and that's not tax deductible.
Oh, no. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not talking about to fund his campaign. I'm talking about how we can limit government and move everything to the private sector by.
Oh,
do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm sorry if I didn't mean to confuse you, but
it's all good.
You get what I'm saying when it comes. That's one of his ideas.
Gotcha. Yeah. Private.
I don't think it's original. I think, but that's something he's running on.
Yeah.
So, just wanted to point that out.
Is there any other LP candidates that we've overlooked? I don't have a list in front of me.
Yeah, there are, but I don't think.
Well,
they're
let's
really...
talk about Gary.
Gary?
Do we
All
think
right.
Gary's going to get in? I mean, he's been acting like he's going to. His line all the time is, "I'm hoping to run," which sounds good, and he wants to get in after the GOP circus is done with, but we got to get him in now. Like, it's McAfee and Peterson. Gary, come on, get in, please. Now. Yes.
I actually have a really big hunch that he is going in. I've heard him not officially organizing, but I've heard discussion of him getting some campaign. Okay, it's not official. He's just talking with people about how he plans to run a campaign if he chooses to run a campaign. People in Virginia, especially. So I know that he's trying to get people ready if he chooses to run. So.
Hey, Michael, you got his phone number. What's Gary doing?
Yeah. I traveled around with Gary when he was running. I was also his campaign director here in Washington State, and I worked with him and his company, CBDS, for a little while. It looks like everything is moving in the direction that he is going to run, but he does need to get started soon. I've seen some of the campaign material already, some of the graphics, some of the designs, so it looks like he's going to run.
Well, if I remember correctly, it's according to Facebook, it was actually 4 years ago, like a day or two ago, that he actually announced that he was running for the Libertarian nomination.
Wow.
So it's, right on the same time frame. I don't know. I mean, I expect that he will run, and I expect he'll actually be the Libertarian Party nominee. But, I guess we'll see.
Is he still waiting for the lawsuit to be completed?
There's some issues and there's some talk from his last campaign that people weren't happy about. All the money going to pay staff and not going for advertising. that's the mismanagement of funds. That was a big deal. And then some of his positions recently on ISIS, wanting to go take them out, that's not very popular. So.
Some bizarre Facebook post about like Sharia is Nazism.
Yeah, that too.
That was just so strange to me. I'm usually like right there with Gary.
That's what happens when your campaign manager's a Republican.
Oh.
Wow.
And that would be Ron Nielsen, by the way, just saying.
So how about Rand Paul?
Yeah, let's segue over to the Republican. Any thoughts on Rand Paul?
Well, so are they going to let him in the big debate or not?
Right now, I think the criteria is not going to be in it, but who knows? It might change by then.
I
So
think this.
let me make sure I'm correct. He is Republican, right?
He's Republican with, I guess, some libertarian leanings.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was excluded from the debate that his campaign would fold shortly thereafter.
Yep.
Whatever your opinion is on Rand, this presidential election cycle is going to be the election that could have been. We could have had Rand Paul against Jim Webb, the two famous members of each of their parties, running for president against each other. Instead, we're going to have Trump and Hillary, Trump and Bernie. It's just the separation.
Potato.
The whole circus show that these debates have become, and the popularity contest that the whole election has become. People with real ideas that make sense for their parties, like a Jim Webb or a Rand Paul, are completely blown out of the water. A rich Democrat is leading the Republicans because of his love of walls, and a socialist that wants to give everybody that has no understanding of basic economics is just frustrating to see this. On one half, America saying you're going to get free stuff, the other half is supports eminent domain, that supports Democrats, and wants to fund the greatest wall in the world history. It's crazy what this has all become.
Well, it's become, bread and circus or whatever. It's just all a big reality show anymore. But it's just rational ignorance of the masses. You ask most people who support Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or whoever it may be, you ask them on certain issues and they'll disagree with them, but then they find out that that their candidate backs this issue or is aligned with this issue, and then all of a sudden they want to change it. A lot of people don't really actually research. They just more or less go with name recognition or whatever the case may be. They might like one thing about them, but they don't really look into them otherwise. And there's this article that just came out is that just admit it. Everybody wants their own dictator. They want to have somebody who's going to do what they want to do, and I think you see the rise of Donald Trump being a lot of people are disenfranchised and fed up, but they're ignorantly going about that and picking somebody who would just be a disaster as a president. Donald Trump would be. Just think about three main people, Donald Trump, and then whether it's Bernie or most likely Hillary. Just thinking about those three people, I don't really like any of them, but just thinking about those three people in particular, it doesn't make me very optimistic.
Yeah. When those ill-informed people, they do something, they turn on the debate, whether they get out of, some ideas on how to fix Social Security or how to minimize government or how to do anything that either one of the parties actually need to do or want to do. Get the Trump said this about you, Jeff, or what do you think about Hillary saying this? There's no exchanging of ideas on these debates on any of them. It's all he said, she said.
You there?
I'm here.
Yeah, sorry, we're just having a little bit of feedback when you
Technical
talk more.
difficulty.
Yeah.
So, anybody else have anything to say about Donald Trump or any other of the two major party? Well, obviously, thumbs down, Michael.
I've heard.
I think. Go ahead, Carl. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I've heard that I've had my anarchist friends who actually believe that Ted Cruz is going to win the Republican nomination.
That would be great.
That'd
be great for us.
I was gonna ask, what is everybody's opinion on that? I mean, what do y'all think?
I think it's crazy that people try and pretend like Ted Cruz is a libertarian. I think that's
yeah.
And like an isolationist, and he's talking about non-interventionist foreign policy. Give me a break.
I'm with you. I don't think he's libertarian at all.
What about you, Michael? You always have an opinion.
Oh man, no. Any one of the Republicans that are currently up there, minus Rand Paul, would be great for us because all the semi-liberty Republicans would have to look somewhere else. Donald Trump. A lot of people would not be able to hold their nose for Donald Trump to vote for him. And speaking from experience, half of our candidates in 2014 here in Washington State came from the RLC, from the Republican Liberty Caucus. Now they're full-fledged libertarians now, but I think anyone besides Rand Paul would be really good for us.
Well, speaking of that, are any of y'all planning on voting in either the Republican or the Democratic primaries?
I'm actually the Republican.
Oh yeah, in Virginia we're having like some oath to the Republican Party, or what is that? You probably know a little bit more about, Joshua.
Well, they're making you sign. Whether it holds, we'll find out. But they're making you sign a paper that says, "By voting in this primary, I agree that I'm a Republican," or some bull crap like that.
What I want to know is that information. Does the Republican Party get that in like some database? Like people that voted in that primary, and then with that oath. Saying that you're a Republican or going to vote for Republican, then would they send you campaign information and stuff like that?
Well, they already send us campaign information.
The State Board of Elections does keep track of who votes in what primary. Like, for example, of course, for a while it actually labeled me a Democrat because I voted. I don't know the last time I didn't vote in a Democratic primary, even though I've never been a member of the Democratic Party, because of course in Virginia you can vote in either one. So, yeah, there will be a record that you voted in that primary, but there's no legal recourse for them to do anything if you say, well, I voted in one of these party primaries, but I'm going to go off and support the Libertarian.
So, I actually, I've actually voted, I have actually had to sign an oath voting for, voting in a Republican local leadership. I think it was actually for their the local committee leadership for their chair.
Yeah.
And I had a sign saying like I support the Republican creed, blah blah blah. I actually, you know what's funny? I mean they make you sign it, but they don't even check. So I actually crossed out and I put I will not support the Republican creed. So I bought into it and still voted. So, I don't know. I mean, they can make you sign whatever, but I just, like I said, I literally put I will not, and no one said anything, and I voted. So,
yeah, because it is run. Well, the primary is run by the state. It's not run by the Republican Party. So. The state workers don't have as far as I can tell, won't have a vested interest in, what you put, what you write on that piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's funny because in the 29th House of Delegates district here in Virginia, we had Mark Berg is now exiting, very libertarian-leaning Mark Berg.
Yeah.
Was just defeated in the primary in June by Chris Collins, who actually saw Democrats in the primary, and that's one by 164 votes. Democratic section of Winchester.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I heard that one person actually plans to. I can't remember who. So somewhere in the Tidewater Party, I think, is actually planning on going out and collecting signatures for the Libertarian Party candidate at the outside the polling booths on primary day, which isn't necessarily a bad idea because everybody is registered to vote.
That's how I got a lot of my signatures when I ran in 2014, and it's pretty much 100% validity. And I think I got like nearly 300 that day. It was great. What's the situation up in Washington, Michael? I know you all have different voting formats and such. You'll have primaries, open primaries.
No, we're a caucus state. So there's caucus in the different precincts, and then the precinct will elect a delegate to go to the state convention here, and then at the state convention, the delegates would vote on to go to the national convention to represent the candidates.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you guys this. One of my friends from Toastmasters, Sandy Sanders, who's an attorney here in Richmond, spoke to Delegate Dance, and they're sponsoring a bill having to do with ballot access this next season in the General Assembly. So she's basically back. She's a Democrat, and she's basically backing ballot access for the Libertarian Party. So we're going to see how that's going to work, because a lot of people are like, she's kind of like, why is a Republican that has libertarian tendencies coming to speak to a Democrat about ballot access? But Sandy's one of the few people that's like, a lot of people in Virginia are running uncontested. So he wants to see the system more inclusive to include the Libertarian Party, because he's one of the few people that believes that we have some things that need to be brought to light. So I'll get the bill number for you guys so that we can kind of monitor it over the next cycle in the General Assembly.
Now, are you sure it's Senator Dance? Are you sure you've got the right person there?
That's what Sandy appeared. I have a talk show that's going to be airing on Comcast and Fios in this area in Central Virginia. He came and talked about the bill when we recorded the show in November.
Okay.
So that's the information he gave me, and I can follow up and send you guys an email with the bill information, because by the time the show airs in late January, early February, the bill should be going to be passed. So.
Because Delegate Rasool actually has a bill, and you can find it on the Virginia legislative system if you Google that and type in his name, that would actually would change the definition of a political party in this state. He sponsored this bill last session, because normally you need 10%. That was what Sarvis was trying to get, and this lowers it to 5%.
Okay.
So I mean, it's probably going to get killed by the Republicans, but it is out there, so you're aware.
Okay.
Or is there any other comments on any bills or Republican candidates or anything like that? Anything else you want to speak about?
Just real quick, anybody else there will be on Lobby Day on January 18th?
I'm sorry?
Let's see.
Anybody can be a lobby day.
Yeah, Lobby Day to get up for the General Assembly, January 18th.
Yep.
I know I'm going to be a lobby day.
I'll look into that.
That's a holiday?
Is it a holiday?
Well, it's Martin Luther King Day.
Martin Luther King Day. Okay. Well, maybe. I've got all these different people trying to get me to go down to Lobby Day. We'll see.
Lobby Day, if it's Martin Luther King Day, I know I'm going to be there with the Richmond Crusade for Voters is hosting a group of Richmond Public School students. So I know I'm going to be there with them. So if you guys know of anything that needs to be discussed on that day, I'll definitely be there with the group of students.
Or civil custody laws.
I actually I had something I wanted to mention. So right now I started a group, or a Facebook page. It's called I think it's called Ban Cigarettes for America, and it's literally satire. It's supposed to basically what I want to do is get enough people to go on that page, and then I want to like really push the effort and act like it's kind of real. Like we really got to push the ban cigarettes, and then I want people who actually smoke cigarettes to be like, well, no, that's my right, or no, that's no, I can't do that, or and basically I want them to push against banning cigarettes, and then it'll just basically show our arguments for why other drugs should be illegal, but let them say it out of their own mouths. That's the idea of it. I know it sounds crazy, but I really think if we get a big enough group going, I think we could, move things along a little bit, and people will kind of become scared, or I don't know. That's just an idea.
Yeah. Well, if you wanted to go with something even more, of course you're going to get some really crazy people. You could actually have something where you try to ban Muslims. But I'd hate to see
Donald
some.
Trump might sign up on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I just figured, cigarettes would be something that they can't argue is better than marijuana or any other drug, and, and let them say, well, no, we should have our cigarettes, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's what in Colorado, if I remember correctly, Denver, when they legalized it, they legalized on health issues, saying that it's less of a public health issue or risk than alcohol, and I'm not sure if they compared to the tobacco or not, but they definitely compared it to alcohol, and so I think that might be an interesting thing if we can kind of get them to say, don't take away my cigarettes, then we can go go back to drugs or illegal drugs, marijuana and such.
Yeah, and honestly, I personally think it's a really bad argument, but I think it's enough an argument for people to be like, well, not my stuff, because people I think have more emotional basis to stuff they're attached to or stuff they have habits doing. So it might actually change a lot of minds of people. So that's just an idea.
All right. Well, been on for about an hour. Is there anything else anybody wants to add?
Not for me.
All right. Well, we'll try to do this on a regular basis. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Andy.
I was just saying thanks, man.
Well, thank y'all. Thank
Yeah,
y'all
man,
for,
good looking. This is good.
Well, definitely, I appreciate all y'all contributing and coming along, and hopefully we can build this into something. And we'll try to do this podcast on a regular basis. I don't know, every other week or at least monthly or something. We'll figure it out, and we know how to do it now. We did it live, and we did it. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and close it up. And so
I wanted to thank Mike for coming on and kind of bearing with us, because most of us are from Virginia, and you're the only one that's from Washington. So I appreciate you dealing with our politics a little bit.
Yes, Mike.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys setting this up and working on the website. Will asked me to write months ago, and I've just been so busy. I finally got a couple articles out, so thank you for your patience. And then I just saw this post, so I was like, yeah, why not? I'll get on there. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, I met Michael last convention, and a really cool guy and really into the politics. I definitely, think he's a good voice, and that's why I'm trying to get some good voices so that we can kind of just push the liberty, bring about more liberty and freedom to people's lives, and bring that aspect. So definitely we'll keep doing this, and we'll post this up on YouTube, and next time maybe have a little bit more of an agenda, but I think we did pretty well for our first time. So thanks for joining us, and that's it.
All right, y'all have a good evening.
Have a good night.
Take care, guys. All right, bye.